Section 2.2 is multiplying polynomials. So if I take two polynomials, here's an example. I have 3 and v plus 2, and I want to multiply them together. Right, 3 is a monomial, and v plus 2 is a binomial. We want to multiply them. If you're multiplying by a monomial, we can just do the distributive property, which you guys are already familiar with. We just take the monomial and we multiply it by all the terms on the inside. Right, so 3 times v is 3v. And then 3 times 2 is a positive 6. When you do the distributive property, you're always going to put a plus or a minus between each term. So since there's a positive 6, we put a plus 6. You guys have done this before. Hopefully it looks familiar to you. Let's skip that one. Let's try this one right here. Okay, so I have a monomial out front, and I'm timesing it by this time a trinomial. It's got 3 terms. So I'm just going to take that first term, the 2x cubed, and again, distribute it through. So 2x cubed times 6x squared is 12x to the 5th. 2x cubed times 8x is 16x to the 4th. Don't forget our exponent rules, right? When I times the x cubed by the x squared, we add the exponents. We just did that in our last unit, right? 2x cubed times 8x, right? 2 times 8 is 16x cubed times x to the 1st, add the exponents. Okay, then times the 2x cubed by 4. 4 times 2 is 8, and it's still x cubed. There's our answer. Okay. This should look familiar to you. You guys have done this before, but again, when you times a monomial times another polynomial, you're just distributing. You guys try this one. So pause the video. Try multiplying this one out. Okay, you go on 8x squared times 2x. That would be 16x to the 3rd. Then I have 8x squared times a minus 3. Be careful of signs. It's a positive 8 times a minus 3 or a negative 3. That's a negative 24, so we put a minus 24. Always pluses and minuses between there. And there has to be an x squared. So 8x squared times minus 3 is minus 24x squared. All right, so that was timesing a monomial times a monomial. Now we're going to talk about what happens if you're not timesing by a monomial. So I have x plus 2 and x plus 5, and I want to multiply it together. There's a couple different approaches to this, so I'm going to show you the different approaches. The first one is you can really just take that x and times it by the x plus 5. So x times x plus 5. And then take the 2 and times it by the x plus 5. So plus 2 times x plus 5. And now we're just doing what we did up above, right? Distribute that x through. Plus 2x. Combine like terms. In this case, we have a couple like terms here. We did this in the last lesson, 5x plus 2x. So I combine those and I get 7x. There's my answer right there. Do this one with me. Let's do that one more time, and I'll show you some other ways. So again, I just take the x, the first term, and times it by the x minus 4. Then I take the plus 3 and times it by the x minus 4 also. Okay, distribute. That would be x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 12. Combine those like terms. X squared minus 4 plus 3 is a minus 1x, or minus x, and I got the minus 12. Some other ways to look at these problems. Well, actually, let's do this. I want you guys to try one that way. So multiply out this 2x minus 3 times x plus 5 using the method we just did, and then I'll show you another way you can do the same problem. All right, so it should look like this, right? 2x times x plus 5 minus 3 times x plus 5. So we distribute the 2x through, 2x squared plus 10x, distribute the minus 3 through, minus 3x minus 15. Combine those like terms, 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. Okay, there's another way we can multiply. You're doing the same thing, it's just a different approach or method. And that is we can use a table. So we can take the 2x minus 3. We're going to put that on that side of our table. Then I'm going to take the x and the plus 5. Put it on that side of our table. Okay, all we do now is fill it in. So to get this term right here, I take the 2x and times it by the x. That would be 2x squared. To get this one, I take the minus 3 and the x and times those together. So minus 3x. To get this one, I times the 2x by the 5. And to get this one, I times the negative 3 by the 5. Okay, now I take this inside part. So this inside part, right in here. This is my answer. So I have the 2x squared. I've got a 10x and a minus 3x. Combine those are like terms. So 10x minus 3x is a positive 7x. And I've got that minus 15. Again, there's my answer, right? Same answer as I got over here. Same answer, just a different approach. Let's try one more with that table, just so you can try it that way. Let's see what I have here. Let's try this problem right here. So if you want to pause the video, make a table and times that x minus 3 times the x minus 6. So it'll look something like this, right? X minus 3, and I have x minus 6. Okay, just fill in the table. This one is x times x. This one is a negative 3 times x. This one is a minus 6 times x. And this one is a minus 6 times a minus 3, which is a positive 18. Okay, start with the x squared. Minus 6 minus 3 is minus 9 plus 18. And there is my answer right there. So that's another method. There's a third way of doing it. This third way is a lot like the first way we did it. This is referred to, a lot of people call this the FOIL method. We'll talk about why. It's really an acronym to remember how to do this. But all you really do is you start with your first term and you just distribute it through. This is the way I usually do it. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. And then I times the 2x by minus 5. That's a minus 10x. 1 times 3x, take the second term and distribute it through, be 1x. And 1 times the minus 5 is a negative 5. Okay, now combine like terms. Those two are like terms. So 6x squared minus 10 plus 1 is a minus 9 and minus 5. We've combined the like terms. This is really, if you can see, is really similar to what we did up here. Really all I'm doing is I'm skipping the step where I write it out like that. The reason why they call it FOIL is it's just an acronym to help you. I don't think you need an acronym to help remember this, but if you wanted it, it is, right? I times the 2x by the 3x first. Those are the first terms of both polynomials. That's what the F stands for. And then the 2x times the minus 5 is the outside two terms. The I stands for the inside two terms. And the L stands for the last two terms. So I guess if that acronym helps you, great, use it. I don't think you need it to multiply these. By the way, that actually doesn't work as well. And so let's do one more problem down here, though. So let's try this number 8 right here. We'll just use that. Oh, I'm going to call it the double distributive method. Some teachers might say FOIL. So all I do is take my first term n and distribute it through. So n times n squared is n to the third. N times 3, 3n. Now take my 2, my second term, and distribute it through. 2 times n squared. And 2 times 3 is a positive 6. Okay, we ought to combine like terms if there are any, but I don't think there are. Let's write it in standard form, though, right? I start with my highest power, my highest degree, and I work my way down. So I'm just going to switch the 2n squared and a 3n. Okay, there's my answer right there. That method works really well also. Sometimes it isn't just a binomial times a binomial. Thought I had an example of that here, but I don't. I'll write one down. So let's say I have this, x plus 2 times x squared minus 3x plus 5. So now I have a binomial times a trinomial. But we just approach it the same way. I just start with my first term, and I just have to distribute all the way through. X times x squared. X times a minus 3x would be a minus 3x squared. X times 5. 5x. Okay, I distributed the x all the way through. Now I go and do the same thing with my 2. 2 times x squared, 2 times a minus 3, and 2 times 5. Okay, so I just took my first term x, distributed it all the way through. Then I took my second term t and distributed it all the way through. Okay, now you're just combining like terms. So I've got an x cubed. I have a minus 3x squared and a plus 2x squared. Minus 3 plus 2 is a minus 1. Minus 1x squared or minus x squared. I have a plus 5x minus 6x. 5 minus 6 is a negative 1 or minus 1. And I have a plus 10. Okay, so I combine all the like terms, and there's my answer. Okay, so multiplying polynomials. So you're just using that distributive property. If there's more than one term, we have to distribute all those terms through. Also, make sure with your answer that you combine like terms. So combine all the like terms, simplified as far as you can go. Thanks, good luck.